to focus on. The first should be a fairly recognizable part. I'm pretty sure everybody at some point in their lives has heard some sort of reference to this most famous soliloquy of Shakespeare's. And the second is the exchange between Hamlet and Ophelia. So remember, you are more than welcome to pause and highlight the things that I've highlighted, and then move at your own pace and rewind if you need to. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them? To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of? Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy horizons be all my sins remembered. You'll see that I've highlighted quite a bit of evidence from this that I want you to pay special attention to, because here we have Shakespeare really thoroughly exploring Hamlet's tragic flaw. So you want to talk about what the tragic flaw is here, and then go through line by line and examine the language and the devices and the elements that Shakespeare uses to really epitomize what the tragic flaw is. The next part of the scene that we're going to examine is the final exchange between Hamlet and Ophelia after they've had their encounter. And I would like you to kind of pay attention to the mood that Shakespeare's developing. I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God has given you one face and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp, and nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no more on't. It hath made me mad. I say, we will have no more marriages. Those that are already married, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery go. Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that suck the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen, see what I see. Looking closely at Hamlet's speech to Ophelia at the end of this scene, what is Hamlet seemingly most upset about at this point in the play? And why does Shakespeare have him focus on this particular motif? Hint, What might Shakespeare be observing about that? Secondly, what I'd like you to look at in Ophelia's, her own soliloquy as she's standing on the stage by herself. How does Shakespeare use this soliloquy to develop Hamlet's character from before the play even began?